Hello, hello, and welcome, my Cancerian collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign. Welcome to your work, career, vocation read for December 2020 and January 2021. I am your reader, Markangela Lyons, Mal for short, professional witch, professional intuitive, president of Drawing the Circle Productions, son of a Cancerian mother, and very, very happy to be serving you here, the Archangel of Lyons, Markangela Lyons, but you can call me Mal. My mom doesn't. She calls me Mark, sometimes Marky, and she's the only person on planet Earth that's allowed to do that. So saith I. Hi guys, my subscribers, my crab cakes, oh my crablets, I love you guys so much. You guys actually really support my channel, you share my shit, and I appreciate it. I truly, truly do. Helping people see things, right? Helping people get my work, really appreciate that. Great, big, huge. So let's get down to business, shall we? We are doing a 9-card spread. Work, career, vocation, 3 levels of power. I'll explain it as I go. It's like eau de toilette, cologne, perfume, right? The physical, the mental, emotional, and the spiritual life purposes. We're going to do it with 3 different decks. Carolyn Myss to look at the Carolyn Myss archetype deck, to look at the dominant archetypes that you're alchemizing within yourself on your life path through these 3 different levels of power. I'll explain it later, don't worry. Then we'll do Daughters of the Moon Tarot to get you the internal stuff, the divine yin stuff, right? Your experience of it personally. And then we will use the mythic tarot for the divine masculine yang God stuff, more what's happening outside of you in the physical world, or how your creativity, your inner stuff is communicating. Yeah, right? Yin, yang, right? We'll see how that plays out. It is a general read. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. My guys have made it very, very clear, my Pantheon today, that they're doing the talking. This is devoid of course all day. I'm doing this on Monday. I'm doing things in advance. I'm going away next week. Or so, yeah, it's next week. I'm going away to see family, a very small gathering, socially distanced, but all of us have been locked in our homes anyway, so trying to get stuff done a couple of days in advance so I can really enjoy myself when I go up for the holidays, because I miss them terribly. My Cancerian mother, how could I not? So let's get up in this gig. Focus on your breath. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't in your delicious, yummy, warm heart. Oh, and by the way, do you like I'm doing this from my living room? I needed to change, man. I needed to change. I was sitting at that table. I love my dining room. I love having my gods and my Wonder Woman behind me, but this is just squishy. I thought you'd appreciate it, Cancerians. All right, enough. Let's get up in this gig. All the decks that I read are in the description box all the way at the bottom, with some cool links on the way down, including a rather old video of Carolyn Myss talking about the 3 levels of power, but you can find this stuff elsewhere. Good. Breathe. Oh, this feels so nice. Just falling back on my couch feels nice. I have a thing about pillows. I bet you do too. Please, my collective pantheons of angels, goddesses, gods, masters, there you are, and the higher selves of all involved. Please, I need 3 cards, 1 for work, 1 career, 1 vocation, for the Cancerian collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs. December 2020 and January 2021. What is the dominant archetype at work in their work? Lower 3 chakras, survival, work, how you survive in the world, interacting lower 3 chakras with the physical world. Please, what is the dominant? I'll take that. The dominant archetype in play, heart, throat, third eye, and crown. Their career, their emotional thirst, their passion of fire, their mental hunger, the thing that really feeds them in their career. We got that one. And please, what is the dominant archetype at work in their vocation, their spiritual calling, their 8th chakra, right? Their larger purpose calling in life. December 2020, January 2021. Let's see, 2021. Let's see you got here. Okay, now these cards are not problematic. What you might think of one of these words is problematic. You have one of the survival archetypes, one of the archetypes from the survival family of archetypes. And here's the thing, everybody's got these. The child, which is the lead, is the childish, the gold, childlike. Pee Wee Herman, Dalai Lama. That's just a really good example. The victim victor, right? It's all about self-esteem and setting boundaries. The saboteur empowerer, the one who makes either empowering or disempowering life decisions for themselves or to sabotage other people, that kind of stuff. And the prostitute archetype, the guardian of comfort and faith. Like, will you compromise your faith just for comfort? Well, you've got that fourth one, the prostitute archetype. And I wanted to define them before I said that because so many people immediately jump to hooker energy, and that's not this. It's just interesting that you have it in the survival level. It's in work. Right? If this had been the child, the victim, or the saboteur, and there are other cards, if you've been watching my reads for a while, that there are different versions of the child archetype, but there's only one version of this one. I'll read what it is, but I just want you to know that. Don't beat yourself up for anything that you hear in this, because it's across the world right now. This is a survival family archetype. It's like, what are you willing to do to survive? But what are you willing to do to survive? The shadow attribute places material considerations and security above self-empowerment. And who the hell doesn't do that? I mean, that's part of the learning curve, right? Of course we negotiate away the power of our spirit to make money. But that's the challenge to you right now. And if there has been drastic changes in your work situation for 2020, some people have and some people haven't, but if they have, that's a real challenge. But here's what you're shooting for. Here's the alchemy available for you. The light attribute. The light attribute. God, who's channeling through me now? Accentuates the challenge of surviving without negotiating the power of your spirit. This is really basic in the sense that it's the base of the tree from which all the other archetypes grow, right? It is so much about physical survival. But when you see what you have in the 8th chakra, this will be alleviated somewhat, I would think. But before we get there, do you just have the Prince archetype in your career? I have the Prince archetype lifelong. It is one of the masculine family archetypes. It is my masculine family archetype in my Chronos Wheel Read Sacred Contracts by Carolyn Myss. I am the Prince. I'm Prince of my family. I'm not interested in being king unless I'm teaching. I have the king with the teacher archetype, but I could talk forever about the Prince. Usually the Prince archetype could talk about himself forever. The shadow attribute, using power for self-aggrandizement. Now, self-aggrandizement is not a word we come across, but we see a lot, right? It's like puffing up your chest artificially, right? Using the power that you have. Now, that could be financial power, that could be career power, but it's definitely in the shadow, in the sense that it's something that you don't want other people to know about. It's sort of like fake it till you make it. It's like Prince Charming in the dark. I've met lots of Prince Charming. I've been Prince Charming in the dark. Very dark. The light attribute, though, romantic charm and potential for power, right? So that potential, always feeling that potential, moving that potential. So in terms of your, the Prince and the Prostitute walked into a bar, right? But hang in there, you got the God archetype. You got the God archetype in the 8th chakra. I wouldn't worry so much, but let's just say your spirituality, your spiritual power is important in this one. Like in some of these work, career, vocation readings, it's there, but it's not dominant. You can't, this is so dominant. This is the divine masculine card, if you want to call it that. However, the shadow attribute, despotism and cruelty. That sounds like fun. Using power to control people. Smithers, release the hounds. The light attribute, benevolence and compassion. Recognizing the eternal force within yourself and others. And look, just because you're a female doesn't mean you cannot have the God archetype orbiting in, around, or forevermore part of your 8th chakra, your calling. That is definitely more about the more externalization of the divine, the manifestation, that kind of parting the Red Sea sort of stuff, right? So to have that in your 8th chakra, that's just nuts. Recognizing the eternal force within yourself and others. That you would have a survival archetype in the lower 3 chakras. The God archetype in the 8th chakra. And the heart, throat, third eye, and crown, the Prince. You could charm your way through this. I could charm my way through this. I don't know, have I ever? It's a natural skill, though. It's just is the prince, is that chunk charisma, uniqueness, nerve, and talent, right? Is that just like the natural expression of the soul, or is it using power to make yourself something, to aggrandize yourself? Look it up. It's an interesting word. It's just a word you don't hear that often. I love Carolyn Myss. Blessed be the Myss. Let's keep going. What's this look like on the inside? What's this feel like, I should say, on the inside? Breathe. My goddesses of water. Sign of Cancer. Oh, Hestia, Hera, Hecate, please. 3 cards, face down. What's going on in their personal experience of this archetypal alchemy going on for them? My Cancerian collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs watching this video in their work, career, and vocation, December 2020 and January 2021. My goddesses, please. 1 card for their work with that prostitute archetype, 1 for their career with that prince archetype, and 1 for that god in their vocation. Now, just gotta say, both of these are divine masculine family. No, sorry, both the masculine family of archetypes. So you're saying divine masculine, divine feminine on YouTube. There's the feminine family of archetypes, and there's the masculine feminine. The feminine. Geminis. This is the Cancerians have still got the hangover from that Gemini reading. This is saying that this is really about your manifestation into physical form, about your yang energy, putting it out there. But with somebody, I guess that's why I'm getting divine masculine, because you got the god and the prince. But the survival issue is what's really key here. So let's look at this. The prostitute with the Scorpio card. So right now, your internal experience of this is deep, but you're going deep. 8th house, Scorpio. This is inside of you. So yes, this could be triggered by someone who's a Scorpio, perhaps in your outside world. We'll see in the next 3 cards that hit. But 8th house is about money, power, sex, other people's resources. It's totally emotional and intuitive and deep and contemplative, but also can be very shadow ridden. So really keep an eye on places material consideration and security above self-empowerment. Now, by the way, I also want to say, maybe you have the resources that you have, but that you need right now. But is it enough? Is it enough? Is it enough? Is it enough? Like maybe you've had a good role here with that Scorpio stuff, or it's really saying pay attention to your gut. Look, Hecate. Hecate, she's one of my goddesses. Oh, and she has to have Hecate. I'm wearing the Hecate totem. This is deep wisdom inside of you as well. I would totally tune to your intuition. You're a water sign, even though it's the Scorpio card. But really, 2nd chakra. I mean, Scorpio is the genitalia in the body, right? Just each sign is a sign. Each of the zodiac signs has a part of the body, right? Pisces is the feet. Pisces moon, so don't touch my feet. But with that prostitute archetype, you might well be at a crossroads. You might well be at a place in your work in the world where you're feeling like maybe you have to compromise your spirit to get this done. But with this inside of you, it's like, I don't like it. I don't like it, but it's for money. So there's a bit of a holding back there in terms of expressing yourself, at least what's really going on the inside. Like you might have all sorts of turbulent feelings about this. So looking at then the emotional, right, the 2nd level of power, you've got the prince with its opposite sign, the Taurus. So you have a total polarity in terms of zodiacal polarity, at least I'll say that, right? Scorpio and Taurus are opposite signs. Now, with 2 court cards in the internal world, as much as we want to assign people to those, that would be different if it was in the mythic tarot, the external. This is something inside of you. This is about your life values. This is about what you really treasure in your heart, what's really important, like bedrock, fixed earth, fertile earth, that you can grow, so you want it. And here's my concern with this prostitute archetype here, with this self-aggrandizement here. You might be pretending to go along with something, or you might be pretending to be like, yeah, no, sure, I got it. just make sure it's in alignment with your truth. Let's talk. This is an important card because this is about your value system. It's about long-term values, life values. So of course, money and home and family and wealth and cars and all those things that we want. But in terms of your heart, throat, third eye, and crown, this might be about your potential for power being way more valuable than you might be realizing, particularly if you have to prostitute it. Now, it's one thing to get a part-time job to pay the bills while you build your career. Most people do that. I did that. I had a job at Garden Botanica. I was only supposed to work there. Oh my God, for Christmas. That was 1998. Oh my God, that was a long time ago. And they wouldn't let me go. I worked there for a year and a half because I was really good at it. Plus all the free beauty products. Wow, mud masks are my thing, darling. I'm a Virgo. Right? So that there's great power, potential for power, and you just be careful about showing off. It's usually not a Cancerian trait, but what if you're like a Cancer with like a Leo rising or something? With the God archetype, your 8th chakra, you've got a 3rd court card. This is very zodiacal. I will see what cards show up in the outer, but I am really feeling inside of me. This is more about how your experience of this. So how interesting that with the God archetype, you would have the Cancerian card, the mother of the zodiac. So you might be very much having and it's your sign. This is the Cancer read. So this could be about your higher self. The higher self really is the 8th chakra. It's kind of, it depends on who you read, right? It depends. Judith Anodio is one of them. Wheels of Life, Wheels of Light. I forget the title. It's been a while since I worked in a bookstore. I don't think they exist anymore. But very definitely follow your intuition. You got 2 water signs here affecting you on the inside, or at least representing you, particularly in terms of your home, right? Not your physical home. Your physical home would be Earth, right? Would be that Taurus card, life value, right? It's like, no, I love my home. I love my home. I own it, right? It's like, yes, this is about a long-term thing, but are you comfortable in your own skin? Now, this is in the 8th chakra. This could very much be about really getting very, very strong downloads of benevolence and compassion, recognizing, feeling more the eternal force within yourself and others. So I would not divorce your spiritual life from your career life and your work life, because we're looking at a thing of values here, and we're looking at the prostitute archetype, where you might be extremely tempted to kind of prostitute yourself. Now, as an example, how I would prostitute myself, look, if the gods really wanted me to go back into retail, I will. It's what I did before I started Drawing the Circle Productions to supplement my income. When I started the company, Drawing the Circle Productions, I worked at Garden Botanica. That was the last retail job I ever had, right? That was just it, because I was working at Borders. I quit my job. I started my company. I needed some extra income, but rather than have a 5-day week, I had a part-time job, right? That's not prostitution, because the people that I met there became clients of mine, right? So it was totally meant to be, and met one of the true loves of my life at the South Shore Mall, which is such a fucked up story. I'm not even going there, right? But that's why I can relate to this prince. It's like, you got the charm. You have that potential for power here. Don't give up on your bedrock values here. If you're going to do something for the money, just make sure your heart, throat, third eye, and crown are in alignment with that, because you've got a connection to the divine, at least the God archetype, to make things happen in the outside world. But your internal experience is that of the Cancerian, you being honest and authentic spiritually to yourself, to be loving and compassionate to yourself. And if you do that, no matter what decision you make at this crossroads with Hecate, and we're going to look at that next 3 cards, you will be coming from a place of gold rather than lead. You're going to have to work this from 8th chakra down, is my sense, right? Because you're going to need that charm to pull this off. Well. Last 3 cards down. Mythic Tarot, the Yang Force, the gods, what this looks like on the outside, or your own creativity, feminine energy expressing itself as masculine energy. Please take a nice deep breath. Yeah, my gods of water and the sign of Cancer, please, can we get 3 cards in clarity for the Gemini collective? Sorry. That Gemini reading screwed me up a little bit. Breathe. One more time, my gods, please, of the sign of Cancer and the element of water, can I get 3 cards in clarity for the Cancerian collective, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs? In their work, career, vocation, December 2020 and January 2021, please. We've got the Prostitute archetype with Hecate, the Scorpio card, that the Queen, that would be Queen of Cups in Rider-Waite. In their career, they've got the Prince with Great Corn Mother, which is that nutrient-dense topsoil and the deep bedrock there of values. Feels good with that Prince archetype. What does that look like on the outside, please? And in their vocation, that 8th chakra, that God archetype, really the ability to manifest and bless and be benevolent with that Cancerian card, maybe feeling that back and forth moodiness about it, but still something so, it just feels like a loving experience of the divine power in a way that is inspiring, but maybe not immediately practical as the mother would like it to be. So please, what does this look like on the outside? My God, this one feels really key. Oh no, that one came out with 2. Please, let's get this right for them, my Cancerian collective, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus. And what's that look like in their vocation? December, January. You've got the Prostitute as Hecate, as we discussed, and the 9 of Swords on the outer. So come on, honey, you're losing sleep over this. This is something that inside you're not really telling anybody, but on the outside, if it's not keeping you up, it's keeping somebody up, right? A lot of thinking. Almost at resolution, though. 1 more sword and you're at the 10. So I would absolutely, yeah, of course you have to be aware of the mental aspect, the facts, the details, the communications, all that stuff going on in the outside world. But it has a real psychic vibe to it as a Cancerian, that if you are in any way an empath, I've never met a Cancerian that didn't have empathic skill, not just social empathy, right? The ability to feel other people's stuff. It's like I have the Pisces moon. That's how we can feel each other from across the world. But with this Prostitute archetype, you're thinking about it, but it really feels like such a nightmare, but it's mental. A lot of this is in the mind, not just of you, but in other people is what I'm getting. So other people might, well, and that's something outside of you too. They say, well, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? You have to do this. Here, do this. Here, do this. And you might just be like, just like he's doing. He's like, ah, la, 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 la. I will make this decision. I am not compromising the truth of who I am, my life values. Excuse me while I cross my legs. I love working on the couch. Probably shouldn't have said that out loud right after the Prostitute archetype. I have nothing against sex workers. I'm just not one. The spirit worker, much harder in some ways. Remember, you got the Taurus card on the inner, the Prince card, and you got the Virgo card, Knight of Pentacles, right? So this might be an actual person, this Virgo person, or it can certainly represent what? Your service in the world that is slowly building. Slow and steady wins the race is very much this card. But what I love here is that you've got this charming Prince energy, right? With this strong, stable life value within you. And in the outside, that's okay, we'll go slow and steady. We'll find our way through this. But we are going to serve. Virgo's 6th house, service, occupation, and health. But occupation is also what you occupy yourself with. So as far as the career thing, you've got something going on here in your occupation that is of great value to you, that I would not give up on. I get the physical part of this might be terribly scary with everything that's going on planet Earth. What really started this time last year, if you look at the numbers. But, you know, we really saw it in February, March. A lot has changed. But if there is truly something of value to you, you have the charm and the power in potential, meaning that it's inside of you. It must become eventually kinetic. Potential, yin, kinetic, yang. This will make its way out eventually, but slow and steady wins the race. And that might be freaking people out around you, and freaking you out as a result, again, if you are empathic that way, or care about what people think. I mean, when they're family members, that's hard, right? If they're people who, it's like, whoa, 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 ramp it down, ramp it down, ramp it down. Aw, because, oh my goodness, don't worry, my crab cakes, don't worry. We'll get you some nice remoulade, you'll be fine. You got the God archetype with the Cancerian card and the card of the sun. Get yourself in alignment with your 8th chakra. There's my work, career, vocation advice for the Cancerians. Just get yourself in alignment with that 8th chakra of yours. You got the God archetype. It is through nurturing yourself. It is through nurturing your 8th chakra by being receptive. Absolutely, I would recommend meditation. I would recommend prayer. Anything to get you up here, right? To see things from that higher place, but more than just see it, to feel it, to give yourself the love, to be at home in the divine, because it brings you what? Apollo. All right, the sun, not just happiness, clarity, ingenious. He's the father of the muses, inspiration, plans. He sees everything clearly. Now, what's interesting, the Gemini reading I just did had the moon, right? Had Hecate in this deck here. So, if you haven't checked your Gemini, if you have any stuff in Gemini, because Gemini kept popping up even though the card's not here. Maybe that's just me. It could just be me. Well, there was a lunar eclipse today. It was very possible. I could have a lunar eclipse, new moon eclipse. Putting all this together then, what I really see here, and I'll do it through giving you the blessing, right? I just explained it that way. Let's do it this way. May the Gemini, I did it again. May the Cancerian collective, sun, moon, rising, Venus signs be blessed with all that they need in their work, career, vocation for December 2020 and January 2021. That they may really alchemize this God archetype, really bringing forth in their experience benevolence and compassion, recognizing the eternal force within themselves and others, really feeling it like the Cancerian that they are, that loving, that compassion, that understanding, because they can feel what people are going on around them, and so that they can really on the outside shine this light and be this light. I don't think this is so much the light, the sun coming from them, so much as they show as the sun. And may they be that light and that inspiration as they channel that through healthy charm, right? Romantic charm and potential for power in alignment with their true heart, throat, third eye, and crown bedrock values as they take steps little by little. Slow and steady wins the race to serve, but also to fulfill things in their own values that no one else may understand, while they face the challenge, right? Accentuating the challenge of surviving without negotiating the power of their spirit, really going deep into their gut, into their intuition and their issues of money, sex, power, what have you, at this crossroads, regardless of the thoughts that are going on around them about their industry, about their career, about what they do in the world, about the economy, all of that stuff that might be getting caught up in their empathic filters, to make that decision to not compromise anyway, to follow their vocation channeled through their interior career, to really manifest and make the wisest choice that they can to survive without compromising their spirit, for their well-being, for the well-being of everyone around them, and maybe to the example of everyone around them, and for the well-being of all. So would it be. So it is. Yay, we're done. If something clicked for you, hit the thumbs up. You want more, subscribe. You want to know when it hits, hit the notification bell, and please comment, because we've got the prince, the prostitute, the prince, and the god. It sounds like a setup for a joke, but a really good one, and I would like to know what that is, because that sounds like a party, honestly. Otherwise, wishing you the very best and the very blessed of your work, career, and vocation, my crab cakes. I love you all so very, very much. Hail, farewell, and blessed, blessed be.